Okay, I think we can start. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Nancy Espinosa. I'm part of the DHIS2 product manager team. And this session is part of these feature spotlight webinars that we've been doing. And the main idea of these sessions is to dive deeper into some new features. In this case, they are not so new, but highlight the functionalities. And this is the second feature spotlight sessions that we do. So the next ones, you can see them here in the table. We will be doing the new maintenance app and deduplication of metadata that you can register in the COP. And in November and December, we will also have the data entry forms for web and Android, and also the data visualizer item definitions, options, and counts in December. So stay tuned. This will always be presented in the community of practice, so you can register there. So the agenda for today, I have divided it into two main streams. One is for the setup and configuration, and this is not necessarily tools for troubleshooting, but there are different tools and best practices to avoid having synchronization errors. And then we are going to the synchronization and troubleshooting when I'm synchronizing my data, why it's not uploading. So for the first one, we are trying to understand sync mechanisms, sync scope, the new tracker importer and exporter, configuration troubleshooting feature in the app, APK distribution web app, and we are trying, we're going to see also some common configuration errors. There are a lot probably, but the most common ones that we have encountered. And for the synchronization and troubleshooting, we will be learning about the error navigation that we have on the app that also emulates a bit the synchronization troubleshootings web app, the exporting and importing databases for further analysis, and also some common sync errors. In general, you'll see that I'll be moving back and forth with the instance and another full guide that I have prepared for the session. But in case you have any questions, you can start using the chat and you can put in there. I will try to review the chat every now and then, but we also have a great team, product team, Marta, David, and I think we also have some of the Android team, Victor, Andres. They will be answering if they can. If not, I will take the questions at the end. But write them up so you don't forget the questions. Okay, so let's start with the setup and configuration. First thing, and you probably know this, but the app works under two data mainstreams. The first one is the metadata or the configuration, and this one includes all the configurational information, which means programs, datasets, categories, category options, org units, option sets, program rules, and a lot more. It basically gives you the structure of the according to user permissions, according to the sharing settings of the different objects. It will allow you to download that particular structure. And currently, you can sync that every day, every week, or manually. And in future versions, we will try to handle shorter periods as 6 hours and 12 hours. This is not currently available, but is in our plan. In the For the data refers everything that the user is capturing through the Android capture app that is already in the instance. In this case, could be track entity instances, enrollments, events, data values from datasets, and so on. And this has shorter periods of time to be scheduled, to be synced with the server, sorry. And you could use it for every 30 minutes, every hour, every 6 hours, every 12 hours a day. or it can be done manually as well. You can either this parameter of how often the metadata or configuration and data should sync, you can directly configure it using the Android settings web app. Or if you don't have the Android settings web app installed in your instance, you can do it directly in your device. Why is this important in general? Because usually we are expecting to see, or the main errors or the first errors we encounter is that we are expecting to see some information. And then when we come here in the app and do the first login, we are not able to see it, or we don't understand why we have less events that we are expecting to. So the sync scope in general for the Android app starts with what programs and datasets do I have access to? This defines the content of the user, the configuration boundaries. So in this case, in my example, my user, my demo user has access to the antenatal care visit, the child health datasets, and two tracker programs which are the child program and the demo program. So we have these four different objects that I have access to, programs and data sets. And then I have the organization unit access, which defines where the user can collect or view data. In this case, I have access, I think probably just to one org unit, and this one org unit, and comparing to the access of the programs that I have, is saying that I have three events. I don't have data sets to see. I only have 47 persons in this child program and five here in the demo program. But then I can choose with the settings, with the sync settings, I can choose globally or for specific programs and data sets, how much information do I want to see based on these other two configurations that I already have. So let's look at this. First, we have the global and specific synchronization. So in this one, I'm going to move to the app. We have divided. You go to the Android settings web app, sorry, because I didn't show that. You go to the Android settings web app, and then in this part, we have the synchronization part. In the synchronization part, we do have two different sections. We have the global section, and then we have programs specifics. What the app does, for example, if I select a program and I say I want to see 50 from this program, and then I want to see other 50 from this program, but I have 500 here, is saying that first, when you first log in and it downloads the data, it's going to go to specific programs and say, okay, 50 for this one. And then it will be download whatever is available. Maybe we don't have 50, maybe we just have 40, and then it will download the 40. And then it will say, I'm going to demo program, and it will try to download 50. And it will see, do I have access to 50? No, maybe I have access to 10. Then it will download those 10. And those 40 and those 10 will be subtract from the 500 totals. So first it goes to the specific, and then it goes to the global. That's why sometimes if for example, if I have 500 here and then I have those 500 TIs based on my org units and it downloads those 500, then probably if I have other tracker programs, I won't be able to see any track entity instances inside those programs because I already used the 500 here in the child program. I'm not going to save. Yeah, so, and event settings. The event settings one, this one, it's saying 1000. This 1000 events does not take into consideration the events being downloaded in the track entity instance. So we can only, for now, we can only limit the numbers of events of an event program. So for example, if I say here, let's do an example with the app. I'm going to say I want 50 track entity instances, and one event. I'm going to save and save. To be able to see here what I already did, I need to first go to settings and sync the configuration. This is the first step. The first step is to sync the configuration because right now the parameters, as you can see here, the parameters that I have was the old ones, the 1000 and the 500. And now they have changed. They have changed to one event and 50. When I'm doing this is not deleting anything from the app. I'm just changing the configuration right now. If I want to see what I'm going to do, if I want to see this behavior, I will delete local data. I don't have anything on sync, so nothing will happen. I will delete the local data. As you can see now, I will have 0, 0, 0. Now, if I go back and sync the data, now it's finished. You'll see I have one event. I have 0 data sets, but I will explain this in the second part. I have now 40 of child program, and I have 5 of the demo program. So what is happening? Because I'm saying 50, and the app is showing 45. So what is happening is that the first thing that the app does, because I don't have specific programs here, the first thing it does, it's saying, okay, I will split, because I have two programs, two tracker programs. I will split this 50 into two. So the first round, it's 25 for child program and 25 for demo program. So now I have the first 25 that you cannot see this right now. This is only the explanation. And then it downloads the 25, but then it goes to demo program, and demo program only have 5. So I have those from those 25, I only use 5. So it goes to a second round and say, because I have this 25, I have the extra now. So I will, the second round, it subtract from the 25. From the next round, it subtract the 5 and add it here to the child program. So that's why here I have 40, and that's why here I have 5. It goes in rounds. So I have the first 25, and then I have the rest. And for the events, in this case, I only have one event program. And this event program is saying now, instead of 3, is showing one event. For the data sets, as you can see, I'm saying here, maximum number of past data to download. In this past data to download, I'm saying 11 periods. But 11 periods, and I'm not seeing anything. So this is, if I go here to the data entry app, this is child health. The past 11 goes from now. So I'm saying I want October, and I want 10 months before October. So it's from today to the past. And as you can see, I don't have information in December, November, October, but I do probably have from last year. So let's see, maybe I have April, I have July. So I could download this ones, but I need um, to add more periods to this. Because in this case, if you don't find it, there's not another round saying, okay, I didn't find it in this 11 periods before. I'm going to do even more in the past. This is not happening to the data sets. But let's say if I now save 18 periods, then again, since I change something in the parameters, first I need to sync the configuration. And then I'm going to sync the data again. And now I have 6 data sets from April, which is probably 18. In this case, periods. My period is a monthly period. So it's 18 months from now. And this will be changed next month. If I still have this, it will not be showing April. It will be showing from May and on. We also have reserve values. The reserve values are pre-generated unique identifiers. And these ones, usually you need them when you have track entity attributes that you used as unique IDs. Track entity here. And you can find them, for example, I think we have one here. You can find them here in the app as a reserve values, and you see there is unique ID. If I find it here, it's this one, this unique ID, and it says it's random. The pattern is random, and it gives the amount of characters for that random number. And when you go to the Android settings web app, you can here you can say how much reserve values do you want to download. Why do we need this? Because the app mostly or is mainly focused to be working offline. So in the instance, because you're online, the instance when you are creating a new track entity instance in that program is directly checking what available IDs do I have, and then grabs one and add it to that field. For the Android app, we need to reserve. We need to say, okay, I probably think I will be entering, I don't know, 100 TIs this week, or it depends because I don't know how frequently you do your metadata sync. So let's say you need 100 per week. Then I'm saying 100, I do the first login, I download those 100, and then I can use them offline. And when I sync, I can make sure that the server will not have any IDs there that is the same as mine using the app offline. So you can, as I show you, you can configure this in the Android settings web app. And each time you register a new track entity instance, one of the reserve values is consumed. So in this case, this unique ID, it says I have 2 reserve values. If I go to the program, which is a child program, and I create, let's add info. Now I created the new track entity instance. If I go here, sorry, here, manage, now it says I only have 1 reserve value left. So what happens with this one and why it is important? This could be a blocker. If you download less reserve values than you need, the app won't let you create new enrollments until you either refill manually, as you can do here with this button, or sync configuration so we can download more reserve values. So it is important, we recommend maximum 500, but you can add more, as many as you think the user needs uh, for the week or for the day, depending on your synchronization strategy. And as a recommendation, I added here, You should avoid, if you are using mobile specifically for your implementation, you should avoid sequential patterns. Why? Because when I am downloading 100, I'm downloading, in this case, I'm downloading 100 for this particular device. So probably I have A001 to A099 or A100. And I could start syncing my data, but probably I will only use 1, 2, and 3 for today. And the other device that I have, it has from A101 to A200. And they will be syncing with the server A101, A102, and A103. So in your instance, you might have A001, A002, and then A101, A102. So it won't be actually sequential because you're using multiple devices. These wouldn't be a problem if you use only one device, but we'll know that this is not the case. Okay, for file size, there's also a possibility in case you have devices with low memory or you have poor connectivity, so you don't want to download um, very large file sizes. Then you can limit those also using the Android settings web app. You go here to the global, yeah, to the global sync settings, and you can select here a maximum. If you do this, for example, you're saying basically, I don't want to download anything. If you leave it empty, you're saying, I want to download everything that my device support, and based on the other sync scope that I already explained, based on access to the programs and data sets, based on access to the organization units, and based on the amount of track entity instances and datasets periods that I'm downloading. Based on all of that, it will download all the file sizes that apply. And we also have the new tracker importer and exported. Um, as you can see here, this is available, the importer is available from 238, I think even 236, but that was mostly testing environmental, but it's available from 238. It's default in the Android settings app, which is here in the global. You see we have use a new tracker importer, use a new tracker exporter. Is default from 240. It's mandatory and it will be mandatory from 43. And from the exporter is available from 240, default from 240, and will be mandatory from version 43. So why or when do I want to use the new tracker importer and exporter? Besides knowing that in future versions it will be mandatory, so we don't have to question this. But if I'm using, for example, I don't know, 238 or 240, and I have the possibility right now to remove it, why do I want to use it? You want to use it if you're handling a large mobile device uploads, or if you want to improve performance, better error summaries, and future-proof architecture. So it doesn't mean that the app, if you don't use it, it doesn't mean that the app will not upload or download, depending on what you're using, the different track entity instances or enrollments or events or relationship. But it does mean that using it, you might have, if you have sync errors, you might have better explanations on what is happening. You could improve also your performance. But then again, is this something that you can use or removed right now, but it will be mandatory in future versions. But as you can see, I can unselect them and everything will be working fine in the app. And again, if you want to do this, you need to sync configuration, and then you'll be able to sync. If not, it will directly go to the old configuration that you had. Okay. Now, we also have the configuration troubleshooting. The configuration troubleshooting is a tool available only in the training APK of the Android app. It's not in the production one. And it is designed for you as an admin or for you as an implementer while you're configuring to help you see if you have any troubles or inconsistencies with program rules, and also if you're using translations. Instead of having, usually what we do is we have a specific user and we change the language, and then we have the user for Spanish or the user for French, and then we have the user in English. In this case is a tool to help you change the language as if you have user already with that particular language configured, and then you can see which translations are you missing on the configuration or on transifex maybe, and you can check that with this tool. So for this one, I think I never explained this, but I'm using for this demo, I'm using version 3.2.1.2, and I'm going to be honest, and we don't have the configuration troubleshooting here. We do have it in 3.1, it's just a 3.2 bug, but I'm going to move from this app to a different version to show you how it works. Just give me a moment. I'm going to make this a bit bigger. So this is kind of a sneak peek because this is 3.3, the future version. So you go to the settings menu here. You go to configuration troubleshooting. You open and you have language and program rules. So for program rules, it will show me if the program has some inconsistencies, and we'll see what we are calling inconsistencies. It will show you here, and then you can tap on it, and it will show the different rules that you might want to check. Not necessarily is an error, and that's why we are not showing red icons and everything. It's more likely a warning. Maybe you want to check, and let's see why. In this example, show error for high hemoglobin values. This one is the name of the rule. So when you go to the instance, and I'm going back to the instance here, and I'm going to maintenance, program rules. In this case, I can filter antenatal care. And I know we have 4 different rules, but I only have 2 here. So for the app, you need to pay attention to 2. So I open here and it's saying in the rule action. So I go directly to the rule action. In the rule action, the condition is empty. So condition in this case refers to the expression to evaluate and display. And in this particular case, I do want to leave it empty because I don't need to add any more values than the static text. So that's why this is a warning. It's not saying it's an error or that the rule won't work. It's just saying make sure you have all the information that you need. And in this particular case, that is probably what I want. So I will not pay attention to this. But then in the demo program, in the assign yes rule, it's saying it is unexpected exception while evaluating this this particular expression. And even though probably the error is not super friendly, you could understand that in this particular line of the configuration, it is an error. So I'm going to the other program, the demo program, and I will open the assign yes. And here, Since it's evaluating, it makes me think it's the program rule expression. And as you can see, the expression is not valid. It is already saying it here. What could have happened? I don't know. Maybe I imported a file and I didn't notice that something was wrong, or maybe I did some changes through the API and I didn't notice something was wrong while configuring. So even though it's saying the expression is not here, to get to this expression, it could have happened to in many different ways. So what it's saying is character 13. So character 13, it goes, if I start counting them, it goes kind of here. And as you can see, I have the incorrect notation here. So if I corrected it here, and if I save, then I need to go again to sync configuration to be able to see the changes that I already did. And once the configuration is finished, let's see. If I go now back to the configuration troubleshooting, you can see that I no longer have the demo program here because there was only one rule that was not working. Now that I fixed that, then I don't see the program anymore. We do have for future versions, we have not implemented it yet, but we do have a ticket to improve how the errors are displayed and the amount of errors that could be displayed. Okay, moving on. We also have the APK distribution web app, and I'm displaying this at this part of the session because it's a way. This is not configuration directly. This is not troubleshooting directly, but it is a tool to help to communicate with the users when you have new APKs, either for testing or either you want them to download and I don't know, for only an amount of people in your team, then you can do that through here. But first, before showing you how it works, I want to tell you what it is and what is not the APK distribution tool. It is a way to distribute the Android Capture APKs, but it is not an MDM. So you cannot manage the devices through the APK distribution, but you can use it to tell the user, hey, here is a new version for you to download. So it is a centralized tool to upload, assign, and publish. Publish not in the sense that you're uploading the APK directly, but publish in a way that you can centralize and have the links to download in one place. It does not automatically install or push APKs to the devices. So you're basically saying to the user, hey, here's a new version, but you are not, it's not mandatory for the user, or you cannot push directly this APK through the APK distribution. It is also displays update prompts, either when the user logs in for the first time, or if the user goes to settings and check for updates here. And as I said before, does not enforce updates. So when the user checks for updates, and I will show this in a moment, when the user search for updates, it can tell, oh, you have a new version here. You have a new version, and the user can say, okay, I will download it now and I will upgrade. Or it can say, they can say, no, I will do it later. So it does not enforce. The user is not obligated to do it. And it is not because you don't know if they have the best connectivity in the moment. Maybe they want to do it later. Maybe they want to do it once they finish synchronizing the data for today, and that's why we are not enforcing that. And I think I also explained this before, but it works as a download hub for DHIS 200 APKs and does monitor, does not monitor installations, which means you can tell the user, hey, there's any versions, but you cannot know if the user already downloaded in their devices. So I will show you. I will go back first to the other app. Um, Here. And then I will go to the APK distribution. Let's see if I can have a link. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so the first thing you see here, when you enter the APK distribution web app, is a brief description of what this does, and then a button that says upload new version. So the mechanism for the checks here in the app is based on what you write here. For example, I'm going to write 3.3.0. This is the new version that I'm adding. And as I was explaining, I was using 3.2.1.2. So it will check this versus this. And if this is a bigger number, which it is, it's going to say, hey, yes, there is a new version for you to download. I can add the minimum version, but this does not enforce or does not change how the message behaves. Here is it does not validate first the version here and then lets you know if you can download it or not. This is mainly for the admins to understand which of the versions should I use for the specific Android version. And then I think I can use, even though you see, I'm going to use this link particularly. Oh, sorry. And then, okay. Oh, and as you can see, I was using minimum 7 and then I select 6 here, which is not it doesn't make any sense because I'm saying the minimum is 7 and I'm recommended 6. If I now do a bigger Android version, then it allows me to save. And I will create. And I can either um, add it to a specific user group or leave it there for everyone to download. So this one, when you don't have any user groups, it is used as a default version for all the users that have access to this particular instance. If I then go and select a specific user group, then it will only appear to those users in that particular group. So what I'm going to show you is the first login, and that's why I deleted the account, so I could show you how it's done from the beginning. Uh, mhm. Okay. You'll soon see, because I know my screen is black, but you'll soon see it. And as you can see, when I'm logging in, the first thing that is showing me is that I have a new available version. And as I said before, the user can either say, okay, maybe I'll do it later, or they can download it now and it will start downloading the file based on the URL that I just added here, and then it will follow as if you were downloading any other APK file, and it will update the app with the new version. Okay, and then I think I said it at the beginning, but the Android team was preparing a guide that will be eventually uploaded in the Android docs. Um, but for now, this presentation will be shared. But for now, we have this guide here in Confluence, but it's an open link, so you will be able to see it. And I will not show this because of the time. I will not show this in the app, but I want to explain some of this that are the common issues during the initial setup. When you are doing, you are configuring your user, you're assigning the org units, you have the sharings, but then you come here in the app, you log in, and it says you don't have data to display, or you don't have permissions to this particular program. So in case you log in and you don't have any programs or datasets that are visible after the login, you need to check a few things. You need to check that the user has first capture org units, at least one, and that your programs, you need to match it that your programs or dataset also have access to that org unit. Because maybe you have just created this org unit, it is a new org unit, and you forgot to add it to the programs. That is one thing. Another thing that could happen is that the user doesn't have access to the track entity types. Let's say we are only doing tracker programs, and both of these programs use person track entity type. So you need to go to the track entity type, search for person, three dot menu, and the sharing settings, and it will open what type of sharings do you have. Maybe it's not open for everyone, so you need to either add the user to the group if you have shared with a user with a specific group, or add the user directly and give permissions, or maybe you want this to be open, so you open for everyone. And then, of course, you need to also make sure that the programs or the dataset sharings are available. Same could happen with the stages. When you already have a program and you create a new stage, I should probably be showing you so here. When you have a program and then I create a new stage, you need to make sure that you go here and you select that stage and apply the same sharings that you have for the program. Or if you want distinct stages for different user groups, at least make sure it has the user group that you want to, so the user can see the stage in the program here. What happens if you cannot register new track entity instances? And this is directly or specifically for reserved values. You need to make sure that you have enough values. Maybe you already consumed them, or maybe you forgot to do a sync of the configuration to download more, or manually go to refill that particular ID. So that you will notice that because when you try to create a new track entity instance in the child program, it will show a message in the attribute saying that you don't have more IDs to use. So for this one, what you need to do is go to the Android settings of app, add more values in case you need to add more, and then sync configuration. Every change, and I think I will repeat this during the whole session, but every change that you do during your configuration, if you want to see it reflected here in the app, then you need to go to settings and sync the configuration. If you add a new data element, sync configuration. If you added a new option, sync configuration. If you added a new org unit, sync configuration. If you added an icon, sync configuration. Everything that you do in the instance to be able to see it here, then you need to first sync the configuration. And finally, another common error that we see is that I cannot create a stage, but not because I don't have access to it. For some reason, and I think I don't have the example here, but let's say, is this completed? No. Okay, let's say I'm going to delete and I'm going to create. Sometimes it could happen that I go to event details, event data, and when I save here in the dialog, it tells me the category combination is missing, but you don't see the section or you don't see anything here. So you don't understand what exactly is happening. And that is probably because you have missing sharings in the category options or in the category combination itself. So what you need to do there is go to the category, check first the category combination, you go to the sharing settings and check what type of settings do you have. And then you go to the category option and check if you have the options. And maybe you will have the options shared correctly, but then you need to check either if it is expired, so probably you don't have any more available because they all have the end date and it's already expired, or maybe because you specifically said, I only want this category option to work in this organization unit, and maybe I have access to this one. So that's why I won't be able to see this particular category option because I don't have their unit that matches the category option itself. And of course, they could be more. They could be more issues based on sync parameters, based on the access of the search or units versus the capture or units. It will depend. We will try to add as many issues here, but of course, there's always the COP for you to ask for more information in case you encounter an issue different from the ones that we already have here in this guide. Okay, I think I'm going to stop a bit for 5 minutes. I haven't seen the chat, so do we have any questions? Let's see. Yes, I will share the links of the different guides, the presentation, and I see you're interested in the demo instances. So I will share those links too in the presentation. Same of the Android releases. I will share this link, but it's in GitHub. You can see it here in the releases, and you can see all the different releases um, and the different versions. Thank you. I see that you already answered most of them. Okay. Control. Okay. I think we have all the questions answered. If not, please someone in the team let me know. So I will continue here. Um, Going to the second part of the synchronization and troubleshooting tools. This part of the session is more related to I already have my configuration. I am already entering data, and now I want to I capture my data, and now I want to sync. And probably I have different issues depending. Oh, no. Now I have different issues. So what happens first? This is what happened first when I encounter a sync error. In this case, the app lists the error in the error navigation dialog. In this dialog, you can tap on it, and then you can go further into the either a program or a data set, and it will show you what type of what type of problem or sync error do you have. So let's follow this particular example. And I have the demo program, and the demo program as it is, um, it has this value, this data element, and it allows me to add any value between 1 and 1,000. And in this case, I have this number, but let's say I want to change it to 80 point. And now I save it. It seems that everything's fine, but I don't know, maybe in the instance, for some reason, I decided to change this from number to, I don't know, negative integer. And I save it. But the user doesn't know about this. I haven't performed in my device synchronous configuration sync, and I didn't notify the user to do it, so the user tries to sync. And when the user tries to sync, it will see an error. If I tap on the error, it will take me to the form, and it's saying in this particular form, in this event that is called the stage is called stage. It's telling me that this particular data element is not valid. So, and it's saying value not negative integer, even though um, uh, specifically, even though I don't see the name of the data element, as an admin, I can go to the data elements and look specifically for the ID, which is the same ID that is showing me here. And I can now tell that is trying to send a value, this particular value, to a negative integer expected value. So I could do uh, depending on what do you need, maybe is an error on the instance, and this shouldn't be a negative integer, or maybe is an error on the app, that the app should be first synchronized and then add the value. So depending on the case, you can decide what to do. But what do I want to show you is that you can also, as an admin, and now we'll go back to the presentation. As an admin, you can, before the user can even tell you about this error, you can also check that particular error directly in the synchronization troubleshooting web app. So it is a way, it is a tool to monitor the different errors that came or that comes during data synchronization, but specifically for event and tracker programs. So as you see, for events, I don't have anything, but for tracker programs, I do have this. The errors that are displayed here are shown from the past 24 hours, and every 24 hours they are refreshed and removed. So if you open it here, it's saying, oh, it has happened a lot, 4 times in this demo instance. And you can see which user, it gives you a lot of information. It gives you the user, it gives you the error message, the error ID, or unit, program, event ID, user ID. So you can search, you can see specifically if it's repeating only for one user, if it is happening from different users, or is it something isolated? Maybe only this user didn't synchronize for any reason, so they need to synchronize and then sync data again. So you can use this tool and you can sort this errors. You can sort them. In this case, I only have one, so you won't see the difference, but you can sort it by code, which is this code right here. You can sort it the latest one, the oldest one, or alphabetically. You can sort them here. You can, there is a possibility for this to, and here, Victor, you can correct me in the chat, or if you want to speak as well. This can be changed. Instead of having them for 24 hours, this is a parameter that can be changed, believe it, for to using the settings app. If I'm not wrong, here in the instance, you can change it, but we do not recommend it, because what this does is, because right now I only have one user and this demo instance is only being used by me. But if you have thousands of users and you enlarge this period of time, and now you want to save errors, I don't know, weekly, then you might have issues with storage due to you are doing a large, if you're having a lot of synchronization problems, you could be saving too many information here, too much information here, and it will slow down your performance in the instance. But it is possible to change if you need to. But it is a way to be a bit advanced on what the type of errors that you're seeing on the instance, and not necessarily waiting for the user to tell you what is happening. And as I said before, but I want to remark this for now, the synchronization troubleshooting is only available for events and tracker programs, not for aggregated information. Something else that you could do is export and import the local database. So maybe I want to see everything that is being done in this particular user and in this particular session for the user. So I can, using the settings, I can go to the export database, and I could either download directly to my device, or I could share to via email or via any other type of app that you use to share or notify or talk with your different teams. So if I download here, and I think this is important for you to know. Oh, sorry. If I go now to files, let's see here. If I go now to files, you'll see that I have here. If I go to downloads, probably depending on your device, but you can see that it will create either on downloads directly here, or if you go, you need to go to internal storage, then downloads. That not necessarily is the same for all the devices, and it will create, the app will create a DHIS2 folder, and this, in this DHIS2 folder, you will see the databases. It will show the name of the user and the date, and it will download everything for that particular session. So what happens, or how to import it, you can only import this using another Android app, you go, in this case, it's the same device, so I won't do it, but you go to the manage accounts, you go to the three dot menu, import the database, and it will allow you to select a particular database. And once you select it, it in my case it says it already exists because it's the same, but it will show you this. It will show you the URL, it will show you the username, but you do need the password. You do need the credentials for this particular user to enter the database. And once you do it, you will see the same information as the other user is in it. And then you can make the decision depending on the type of error that you have. You can make the decision of, do I want to delete this data? Do I want to sync? Do I want to sync configuration first and then sync the data? Do I want to change something in the server? It depends directly on you and how the configuration should be done. And of course, this is just a specific example that I'm giving you, that you have different value types, but then again, we'll see a lot of others different errors. And sorry, before moving, the images, files, and icons are not downloaded when you are downloading um, the database, when you're exporting the database. You are only exporting the configuration and data, but not including images, files, or icons. So if the problem specifically is an image, then the best way is just directly review it with the user within their device, because those specifically are not being downloaded when you or shared. Okay, so let's go to the here. We have the common errors, but in this tables, you'll see that we have error codes, what type of message is shown in the app, and these error codes in the instance may have a slightly different message. Sometimes we do try to interpret in terms not necessarily for the message itself, but in terms to fit it better here in the dialogue. Um, so these ones in this first table are the ones that are being interpreted by the app and probably change a bit of the wording. And then these ones are the rest of errors that you might encounter, and they are not rewritten in the app. They're the same message that you see on the server. You might see it here. And I don't think we can go through all of them, but as in the other, let's see a few. In this case, it says you do not have access to, and probably it will show you an ID. In this particular one, the type of error saying you don't have access to that particular um, or unit, or you don't have access to that particular program, or you don't have access to, it depends. So the way to solve it, and we have left here two different paths. It depends on your specific case. If you do not want to sync the data, and this, I think this goes to everything here. If you definitely don't want the data because that data is obsolete, or that data is not what you expected, all the users have the possibility to delete the local data. This is not something we recommend to do it in a daily basis. I'm just explaining this for you to have it as an option in case you don't need that data anymore and you need to be able to sync properly. Then you can go here, delete the data, and then sync, start capturing your information, or maybe you want to delete what you have, sync configuration, and then starting fresh. Then you can do that and then sync data with the new configuration. But if you do need to sync, and then again, this depends on your setup, you can either temporarily send back, um, sorry, restore the user permissions specifically for that or unit, specifically for that program, because maybe they were late and they couldn't uh, sync. I don't know. They needed to sync a week ago and they couldn't, and now they're trying to sync and now they cannot do it because they have no longer the permissions. Then you can restore the user's permissions either for the org unit, for the programs, for the data sets, or the categories even, and then sync and then restore the new permissions. And again, every change that you do, you need to sync configuration first and then sync the data. And then we have a lot of other type of errors here. Like you don't have access. I think I explained also this in the first ones. You don't have access to the track entity type person or the track entity type or a new track entity type and you don't have access to, then again, probably if you don't need to sync the data, then you, well, in this case it's not necessarily that you missed the new sharings. Probably this one, it could be that you never had the sharings and you will see a message here that you don't have access to any programs. So you go directly, grant the access, sync configuration, and then you will be able to capture. Um, and yeah, you can find here many other different type of errors. Maybe you have duplicated information and you need to correct them through the instance and not necessarily through the app. But now you know that you have the ID of that particular instance in what particular program or stages or event, and you will be able to track it and decide what to do, either to delete the one that is in the instance or delete directly the one that is here in the app. And yes, I think I will leave time now for more questions. Um, yeah, because this is a very, very long list, but I will start reading questions. Okay, let's see. Gregory, I see you already have some answers. Thank you all for the questions, and thank you, Victor, Olaf, Shirley, that you're answering. Okay, I think I don't see any unanswered questions. So to finalize this, I left some resources here. As I said, everything that I just explained is in this guide. Right now it's in Confluence. It's an open link and you will be able to see it. It's a guide explaining the two main setup and configuration and synchronization and troubleshooting with the different tools that I explained during the session, um, with the tables as well, with the common issues and an idea on how to solve them. Then I also added here the Android settings web app documentation, the APK distribution documentation, synchronization troubleshooting documentation. The general documentation of the app is here based on depending on what you want to see, specific features, dataset features, programs, visual configurations, and then I also, um, okay, let's do this real quick. And then we have the Android implementation guide. This was recently updated as well. So you can check this out, that this not only talks, this not talk about troubleshooting, but it has some recommendations on server requirements, the overview of the app, mobile device specifications, in case you want to check them testing as well. And I think that's it for me. If we don't have any more questions, thank you all for joining. Okay, I think we have one question. It says wish to inquire on the possible cause of sync error mandatory data element is not present after editing already. Faith, could you explain a bit more? Is it that you already sync mandatory and then when you download the data is not shown? Is it you first add it in the instance and then you're trying to download? Okay, write it in the chat if you have the time. Then in the meantime, we have another question that says, is it possible to resolve the last sync error showcase? Yes, I can show you this one. It depends on what we want to do. If we want, for example, uh, to bring back the numeric value type, I should go to where's here's the instance. I should go to the maintenance, then data element, search for my data element specifically um here, and then I need to say, oh no, this is a number. It's not a negative integer. So I save it here. Then I need to go back and I need to sync configuration first. Now that I sync the configuration, let's retry and see what happens. And now is a successful sync because now the values that are inside are according to the value types that I have here in the instance. Okay. Thank you, Faith, for replying. It might be good if you can either in the COP, through the COP share if you have a testing instance so we can check it. To maybe have more information. We will try to replicate it in our instances and see if it's an error specifically from the app or if it's something else. Uh, we do have here in the documentation, um, the question is, do you recommend any type of MDM? We do have here um, some recommendations for MDMs. You can check this in managing mobile in the implement documentation. You go to managing mobile devices and we have here comparison charts, how to choose the MDM, and yeah, check that out and let us know if you have questions. It is not possible to restrict the user from exporting the database. For now, all the users have the permissions to export the database. But for import, you will need the credentials to import it. Okay, I think we don't have any more questions. So thank you all very much.
Nancy, there was a question about MDM. If you have any
Yeah, yeah.
suggestions about a recommend, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can share the link here in the chat, but I will also add it in the presentation. Here is the documentation that we have on MDMs.